Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold down the plus and minus buttons simultaneously to reach the settings menu. Scroll down and press the center button to select the battery lock page, and then press it once again to unlock and eject the battery. Place your hand below the battery to support it. Once the top end of the battery is disengaged, press the handle to release the battery and lift it out of the bike. Unwrap the wire loom from the cables going to the left side frame grommet. Use a 2mm hex wrench to remove the left side frame grommet and bolt. Disconnect the headlight connection. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that mount the battery lock assembly to the frame. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that mount the terminal assembly to the frame, and then use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 2 bolts that secure the controller cover plate. Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to remove the 3 ACU cover bolts. Remove the cover. Use a 5mm hex wrench to loosen and remove the 2 kickstand mounting bolts. Remove the kickstand. Cut the zip tie securing the motor cable to the frame, and then disconnect the motor connection by pulling the 2 motor connection plugs apart. Carefully wiggle off the rubber grommet from the rear axle nut on the drive side. Use an 18mm open-end wrench to loosen and remove the axle nut and washer. Repeat these same steps on the non-drive side. Note, a box end 18mm wrench can be used on this side. Tilt the derailleur back and lift the rear wheel up and out of the dropouts of the frame. On the drive side of the bike, Use a 2.5mm hex wrench to loosen the mounting bolt for the single cable retainer and remove it. Pull out and carefully disconnect the right side taillight connection. Use a 3mm hex wrench to remove the 3 bolts that mount the wheel lock assembly into the inner chainstay of the frame. Lift out the wheel lock mechanism and guide the cable out of the frame. Disconnect the cable connection for the left side taillight. Lift up the controller cover plate and disconnect the third plug on the controller and remove the harness from the bike. Swap the light harness. Plug the new harness back into the controller by aligning the arrow to the front and firmly pressing the plug in place. Guide the male and female harness ends for the taillights toward the back of the bike. Feed the male harness end back to the drive side of the frame and reconnect the taillight by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Guide the cable back into the frame and reattach the cable retainer using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Guide the female end of the harness back to the non-drive side of the bike. Reconnect the taillight by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Reattach the cable to the E-lock assembly and then guide the cables back into the frame. Use a 3mm hex wrench to reinstall the 3 E-lock mounting bolts to secure the assembly to the bike frame. Ensure all bolts are threaded in before final tightening. Guide the other end of the light harness through the battery compartment and out of the frame grommet. Replace the controller and its cover into the frame. Reinstall the 2 controller cover plate bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Replace the ACU cover plate and install the 3 mounting bolts using a 2.5mm hex wrench. Ensure all 3 bolts are threaded in before final tightening. Guide the terminal back into the frame and reinstall the mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. Position the battery lock assembly in place and reinstall the 2 mounting bolts using a 3mm hex wrench. Lift the derailleur back, guide the rear wheel back into the frame, and ensure the axle fits fully into the dropouts of the frame. The torque washers should be facing upward toward the opening. Replace the washer and axle nut on each side of the rear wheel and torque them to 40 to 45 Newton meters. Reinstall the rubber axle protectors on either side. Reconnect the motor cable connection by aligning the arrows on the plugs and firmly pressing the connection together. Replace the zip tie to attach the cable to the frame. Trim the excess zip tie. Reinstall the kickstand and 2 original bolts using a 5mm hex wrench. Reconnect the headlight connection by aligning the arrows and firmly pressing the connection together. Reinstall the left side frame grommet and bolt using a 2mm hex wrench. Replace the wire loom on the cables coming from that side. Reinstall the battery by inserting the bottom first and pressing the top to lock it in place. Press and hold the center power button to power on the bike. Hold the plus button to turn on the lights, and then use the left and right arrows to test for proper function.